A kiss that was caught on camera, accusations of groping and sexual assault, a lawsuit seeking millions, and a woman whose face became disfigured while fighting the allegations. The Caroline Manzo versus Brandi Glanville case isn't just about what happened in Morocco. It's about Bravo's toxic culture and who pays the price. In January 2024, Caroline Manzo filed one of the most explosive lawsuits in Real Housewives history. The former Real Housewives of New Jersey star sued Bravo, NBC Universal, Warner Brothers Entertainment, Peacock, and multiple production companies, alleging she was sexually harassed and assaulted by Brandi Glanville during filming of The Real Housewives, Ultimate Girls Trip Season 4 in Morocco. The 57-page lawsuit didn't just accuse Brandi of forcibly kissing her and groping her vagina and breasts. It accused the entire Bravo network of creating a toxic work environment where cast members are deliberately plied with alcohol, deprived of food and sleep, and encouraged to sexually harass each other because it's good for ratings. This case has spiraled into a 2-year legal nightmare that's cost Brandi her career, her health, and possibly her sanity. Here's everything that's happened since Caroline filed that lawsuit, including the devastating health crisis that's left Brandi disfigured and nearly $200,000 in debt. In January 2023, Caroline Manzo and Brandi Glanville were both cast on The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 4, which was being filmed in Marrakech, Morocco. Ultimate Girls Trip brings together housewives from different franchises for a vacation filled with drama, confrontations, and allegedly, and according to Caroline's lawsuit, dangerous levels of alcohol consumption orchestrated by producers. According to Caroline's complaint filed in New York State Supreme Court on January 26, 2024, the incident occurred during filming when producers pied the cast with alcohol and created conditions where cast members became severely intoxicated. The lawsuit alleges that Brandi forcibly kissed Caroline multiple times without consent, but it didn't stop there. Caroline claims Brandi groped, grabbed, and forcibly fondled her vagina and breasts while cameras were rolling and audio was being recorded. The lawsuit states that producers were listening to the interaction on audio, but never opened the door or took any other action to intervene and stop the sexual assault. Caroline alleges she cried for help during the incident, but nobody from the production crew stepped in to protect her. The assault was so traumatic that Caroline, who was sexually assaulted at age 7, stated, "After the altercation, I got abused." She shared the details of the alleged assault with her husband, her children, and 2 production heads the following morning. What makes this case particularly damning for Bravo is Caroline's allegation that the network had overwhelming prior notice of Bry's prior deviant sexual proclivities and sexually harassing conduct. The lawsuit cites seasons 2 through 5 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and season 2 of Ultimate Girls Trip as evidence of Bry's pattern of behavior. These prior acts allegedly included attempting to kiss other castmates without their consent, unwanted and forcible touching, stating she was going to molest another castmate, and using unwanted sexual language. Despite this documented history, the lawsuit claims defendants wrongfully continued to hire Brandi for their shows and allowed, condoned, and even encouraged her sexually aggressive and offensive conduct on others on the sets. The complaint also alleges that Brandi was encouraged to become drunk on set, so she would be more likely to commit outrageous and harassing acts, thereby helping defendants' ratings without regard to the rights and safety of those around her. Interestingly, Brandi herself was not named as a defendant in the lawsuit. Caroline chose to sue only the production companies and networks, not Brandi personally. The lawsuit even included quotes from Brandi that depicted both women as victims of Bravo's toxic work environment, all including Bry's statement, "The producers ask you to do something and then you get in trouble for it." Caroline's 57-page complaint listed 16 separate allegations against the defendants, including sexual harassment, sexual battery, discrimination, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, violation of civil rights, and creating a hostile work environment. The lawsuit aimed to discourage defendants from continuing to sacrifice their cast members' safety for their own ratings and profits. Caroline's attorney, Derek Smith, of the Derek Smith Law Group, was interviewed by the New York Times about the case. He stated, "Have fun, say crazy things, but outrageous, outlandish behavior should never ever include illegal behavior." But he emphasized that the case is about the network selfishly sacrificing the well-being of their talent for ratings and profit, adding that reality TV is leading to severe emotional and physical harm of its talent, and this must stop. The lawsuit specifically calls out Bravo's pattern of creating dangerous work conditions. According to the complaint, producers regularly ply the Real Housewives cast with alcohol, cause them to become severely intoxicated, and then direct, encourage, and slash or allow them to sexually harass other cast members because that is good for ratings. This wasn't just about one incident in Morocco. This was about a systemic problem within Bravo's production culture that puts cast members at risk. On January 26, 2024, the same day Caroline filed her lawsuit, Nay's representative issued a statement responding to the accusations. Sadly, Brandi had to wake up to yet another lawsuit that includes defamatory false accusations about her, the rep told Page 6. While filming, Brandi followed what the producers asked of her, and there was no sexual assault. She is innocent of these absurd accusations that have weighed on her mental and physical health for far too long without a word of support from Peacock, Shed Media, or anyone from production. That statement is crucial because it confirms Bry's defense strategy. She was following producers' instructions. If Brandi can prove that producers directed her to kiss Caroline or engage in sexually provocative behavior for the cameras, it shifts liability away from her and onto the production companies who gave those instructions. Why? And this is why Caroline chose not to sue Brandi personally, and instead focused on the networks and production companies who allegedly created the toxic environment. In August 2024, Brandi sat down with the U.S. Sun to further declare her innocence. "I didn't do anything wrong," she insisted. She pointed to the fact that Caroline's lawsuit targeted Bravo, not her, as evidence that even Caroline's own lawyers believed the network was responsible for what happened. Brandi maintained throughout 2024 that she was simply doing what reality TV producers asked her to do, and she got in trouble for it afterward. Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 4. The Morocco season where the alleged assault occurred has never aired and likely never will. After Caroline filed her lawsuit in January 2024, their Bravo made the decision to shove the entire season indefinitely. This was an unprecedented move for the network. Even when other Real Housewives faced serious legal troubles, like Jen Shah's fraud arrest or Teresa Giudici's prison sentence, their season still aired. But this situation was different. Airing footage of an alleged sexual assault would expose Bravo to even more liability and public backlash. The decision to shove the season meant that millions of dollars in production costs were completely wasted. The cast, which included multiple high-profile housewives from different franchises, had their work essentially erased. And for Brandi, it meant losing out on the exposure and paycheck that would have come from appearing on the show. The Morocco season becoming Bravo's buried secret added another layer of financial and professional devastation to Bry's life. In July 2024, just 6 months after Caroline filed the lawsuit, Brandi started experiencing facial swelling and disfigurement. At first, she thought it was stress related to the lawsuit and the public accusations, but the swelling got worse. Her face began changing shape. She developed lumps and irregularities that doctors couldn't immediately explain. She was losing hair. Her joints were sore. She experienced chronic fatigue and brain fog. She felt like she had aged 20 years overnight. Brandi initially believed she'd contracted a parasite from food that had been left sitting out for hours during the Morocco filming. But given that the facial changes started after she returned from Morocco and after the lawsuit was filed, the timing seemed to support a parasitic infection theory. She even gave the parasite a name and began a desperate search for answers. Between July 2024 and February 2026, Brandi visited 21 different doctors trying to figure out what was wrong with her face. She spent over $200,000 out of pocket on medical consultations, lab work, imaging, and treatments. Each doctor visit cost approximately $1,000 just to be seen, plus additional thousands for testing. She had insurance, but most of the specialists she needed to see, and the tests she required weren't covered. In December 2024, Brandi revealed on social media that she finally had a diagnosis, but she didn't specify what it was at the time. And fans speculated about everything from autoimmune disorders to allergic reactions to actual parasitic infections. The mystery of what happened to Bry's face became one of reality TV's biggest unsolved puzzles. On February 18, 2026, Brandi finally revealed the truth. In an interview with TMZ outside her Beverly Hills doctor's office, she explained that her 20-year-old breast implants had completely ruptured, causing silicone to leak throughout her body and clog her lymph nodes. That silicone buildup led to the infection in her face that caused the parasite-like disfigurement. "I definitely had a parasite," Brandi told TMZ. "I was shocked because, honestly, my implants I've had for 20 years almost. They looked fine. They felt fine. But when she finally got a sonogram instead of just a mammog, the truth was revealed. Not the breast implants, which she'd gotten in 2007 after the birth of her son Jake, were no longer even on the market. They're illegal now," Brandi explained. The sonogram technician delivered the devastating news. "You have a slow leak in your left implant, and your right is completely ruptured. Whatever's going on in your face, it can't drain because your lymph nodes are clogged with silicone. According to medical recommendations, breast implants should be replaced every 10 years. Brandi had kept hers in for twice that long. "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." She said, "I learned a really, really hard lesson." On February 3, 2026, Brandi underwent life-saving surgery to have the ruptured implants removed and replaced. The surgery was documented by Inside Edition, giving viewers a shocking look at just how bad the rupture was. Her plastic surgeon, Dr. Ariel Oren, described Bry's case as really complicated. "I don't really know what I'm going to find when I get in there," he said before the procedure. What he found was worse than expected. The ruptured implant was described as a big gooey mess. "It is torn. It is ripped. And this is actually much worse than I had expected." Dr. Orion stated during surgery, he had to suction out the remaining pieces of silicone and change his gloves mid-procedure because of how contaminated everything was. He then replaced the old implants with fresh new ones that have a lower risk of rupture. Just 1 week after surgery, Brandi was already feeling dramatically better. "After just a week, my joints are different. I can sit down. I can get up right away. I don't have to massage my neck all day long," she revealed. She'd spent 3 years essentially homebound dealing with this mystery illness, and within days of having the ruptured implants removed, she was feeling like herself again. Here's where things get complicated and tragic. Bry's health crisis began in July 2024, 6 months after Caroline filed the lawsuit. The timing suggests that the stress of being publicly accused of sexual assault, losing work opportunities, facing potential financial ruin from legal fees, and dealing with the social media backlash may have contributed to her immune system weakening to the point where the ruptured implant infection manifested. Chronic stress is known to suppress immune function. When your body is in a constant state of fight or flight, it can't effectively fight infections or manage inflammation. Brandi was dealing with one of the most stressful